Studio, we're going live. Welcome into Freshly Pressed on a Wednesday morning here on Smooth 98.1. We love music, we love life, we love to take a look at the big stories in the papers, the headlines, the major talking points. We bring them to your attention, we get analysis, and of course, we get you to share your thoughts, weigh in on the matters with us, and let us know your perspectives and your opinions as well. Welcome into another interactive session. My name is Ayokunmi Kikiriakon, and it's very easy to be part of the show. So if you're just tuning in for the first time, I'll clue you into what to do. The WhatsApp number is there for you to send those messages. It is 0911 999 0981. 0911 999 0981. Also join the live stream on YouTube. It's Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos if you like the audiovisual edge. You can leave your comments in the chat section there as well. All right, joining me to take a look at the stories this morning, give analysis, and so on and so forth. It's going to be Lakunle, Yusuf, and Devoe Okorie this morning. Good morning to you, gentlemen. Lakunle, how's it going?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Devoe. Ayo, good morning. Good to see you. Enjoy the bit of conversation we always have before the show starts. Today is a lot of never, never, never. Let's see how we can make it never become possible.
Yes, indeed. Devoe, good morning to you.
Morning, Lagos. Morning, world. AY, Lakunle. New day and a new week. Cool. NIN. NIN. NIN.
You know, Devoe, talking about I wasn't expecting that one. Talking about NIN, I mean, is that a place where you would love to start this morning? I mean,
Yes.
I'm open. I'm completely open to that
513.
All right, let's begin talking about NIN. This is in The Guardian. President Bola Tinubu on Tuesday announced that over 126 million Nigerians have now been enrolled in the National Identity Database, even as the federal government has expanded the system's capacity from 100 million to 250 million records to ensure universal coverage. The president, represented by the secretary to the government of the Federation, Senator George Ayokunmi, disclosed this at the 2025 National Day of Identity celebration organized by the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, in Abuja. Devoe, what exactly does this all mean in essence?
Well, the truth is, this is an aspect of governance that many people don't take note of, but it's actually one of the most important and fundamental, let's call it infrastructure, okay? Yes, the National Day of Identity celebration was being marked. Obviously, NIMC, that works under the Ministry of Interior, was the poster child of this event. And the event theme was Public Key Infrastructure, PKI, Backbone to Digital Public Infrastructure. And basically, various speakers that they had called spoke on different aspects of how national identity was being improved. And, the NIMC is being run by one of the youth or Dushote in this country, which I must give her props for the advancement that she's brought since she started there. And when the SGF, who represented the president, was speaking, he mentioned that 126 million people had been registered, okay? And they had expanded their capacity to about 250 million. Now, they said this was possible due to the fact that they had expanded their net for coverage. There were over 200 diaspora centers, which is very key because, large parts of the Nigerian population is abroad. And they also registered refugees, persons that had been displaced, internal IDPs, as well as even those within the correctional centers, okay? Now, they also created web systems to help people update their records, etc. and co. Now, the biggest part of this advancement was where, because we had been waiting for this, where she mentioned that eventually they've been able to link the NIN to various government organizations, okay?
Right. Right.
Now, here they mentioned that that was Mrs. Abisoye Coker Odushote, and that they had partnered with um um sorry, let me just flip that up. They had partnered with the FIRS. They had partnered with the tax authority. They had partnered with the National Health Insurance Authority. They had partnered with the National Population Commission. They had partnered with immigration. They had also partnered with those that give the FRS the driver's license. Now,
Mm.
this aspect is actually key because at the end of the day, harmonizing the data, because they said they partnered with 125 partner agencies. Yes, we've just listed a few of them. But whilst this is a something that should be celebrated, I want to put a pause on the clap. Okay, just raise your hands. Don't clap yet, because we need confirmation that this linking has taken place. At least I can speak for immigration, because we all know that before you get your passport, you must produce your NIN, and the
True.
NIN is present on your passports. Now, my only uh, query or question here is that if you link the partner organization, because remember the issue we always had was every agency was always creating its own data.
Mm.
Everybody, you go for driver's license, you fill form. You go for your passports, you fill form. You go for NIN, you fill form. You go to the bank, open account, you fill form. You're trying to get health insurance, you fill form. And it's the same personal data that they're taking from everyone. And the desire at a long point in time was, can't we harmonize all this data? Can't we have a central database that feeds everybody so that literally like we mentioned, take for example the use of e-passports. When I went to Ghana, all I did was just wave my hands, put my fingers on the gates at Ghana, and right on the system it says, "Welcome, Mr. Okorie. It's good to see you again." That's a computer. That's not even AI. The computer recognized how many times I had gone in and out of Ghana because they had a database. So we're saying here that we hope that this linking is real, and I need confirmation from this, because the other benefit of linking partner agencies is that at some point we shouldn't be filling forms anymore. AY, do you get the point?
Right.
So
I get
what's
you.
the point of linking if at the end of the day I still have to fill 125 forms? No, I should be able to walk into, if I want to renew my driver's license, or if I want to get an HMO universal coverage, I should just simply go there, either
Okay,
through
Devoe.
biometrics, either by the PVC. Yes, that's another one of the agencies. Put your finger, and then my data just comes up. It's another reason why we've also said in elections, people don't need to carry PVCs. If they have the BVAS, once you put your finger or you put your eyeballs through the biometric database that's linked to the NIMC, your data comes up and verifies who you are. So hopefully, like I said, it's least talked about, but it's one of the most key elements that will help raise efficiency
All
and
right.
identification in business transactions with government and even the private sector. So thumbs up to NIMSI. Like I said, raise your hands, but we're not clapping yet.
Raise your hands, but we're not clapping. But I mean, I will say this is
One,
a good step in the right direction. Lakunle, you need to weigh in.
yeah. So I know for a fact that everything that Devoe has described is actually in process. Yeah. It is started with the instant payment system with NIBS and your BVN being connected to this. I know that it's also been done with your tax. When you go to register for your tax identification number, your BVN is asked for. And so gradually, I think that the reason we fill forms most of the time is because, so if you ask me what is my BVN right now, I don't even know it by rote. So when you write it, even then, people still make mistakes. I am a very example. I went to do identification tax, and instead of writing Olakunle, the man wrote Olayinka, and so it
How?
couldn't exactly. So
Oh,
so those little things and also gives room to, if I know my BVN or my name by rote, for example, and I read it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, it's unlikely that I will make a mistake with typing the number. But I
mm,
know fact that these things are going on. And the Honorable Minister of Communication, at one point, one interview I saw somewhere with Shola Shobuale, mentioned that the framework for doing all of this is already in place, and that they have the approval of the presidency to get it done. All those siloed databases will be one day interconnected. How soon then, I do not know.
I mean, we wait for that day that everything actually comes together. It's going to be a beautiful thing to actually see. Luckily, so let's talk about what's going on in the world of health. Luckily, I think I'll need to pause briefly on this particular story. It should be on Lassa fever, but I think this document did not update properly. I'll have to. Sorry, just hold on a minute. Yeah, so the story is talking about Lassa fever. Let me open up the link here. And it says that the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the NCDC, has reported a rise in confirmed Lassa fever cases, with 162 deaths recorded across 21 states as of epidemiological week 35, spanning August 25 to 31. The NCDC, via its official website, reported 10 new confirmed cases in week 35 alone, up from 3 in the previous week. Now, it said the new cases were detected in Edo, Ondo, Bauchi, and Taraba states. Like, I know we've talked about Lassa fever before, and I will say that the NCDC are doing a good job of keeping everyone abreast of what is going on, but we're having an increase in the numbers.
Here we go again. They always ask ourselves, what is the value attached to the Nigerian life? Many Nigerians die because they die due to preventable reasons. So Lassa fever is something that is 100% preventable. It is also treatable, even as much as it is so fatal. The person, you could contact Lassa fever in the morning and be dead by the next day or something. I know it is that. I think it's that fatal, right? So we have 162 deaths in 7 days in 4 states. Now, it also comes back, what is our typical response to this report? Is it just that NCDC just reports it? What then happens after the reporting? What do we have in place? What is the National Orientation Agency? What role do they have to play in sensitizing us to say, look, when you have these symptoms, these are the likely that's supposed to be wrong with you. Go to so and so place, the primary health center. And that brings me again to the question we always asked. Where are our health facilities? What states are they in? What facilities are inside them? Where are the personnel that mans them? What is the response time to when people come in for treatment? So
we know the answers to these questions.
It's not enough to just say that it is preventable. Yes, the hospitals will be useless if we are all sensitive and we are knowledgeable how to prevent all the diseases that takes us to the hospital anyway. I know that there are vaccines for a lot of these things. I'm not sure there are vaccines against Lassa fever yet, but I know that it's preventable by keeping a clean environment where you and rats don't share food from the same pots, for example. I mean, so if you make your house rat-proof, for example, you most likely won't contact Lassa fever. So it then comes back to what we always say. What are our governors? I think our governors in Nigeria generally are getting away with murder, because this is what we should call it for every citizen of any state that dies due to any of these preventable things. It should be counted as murder against the governor of that state. And they should be tried for it, because we cannot get enough of these things. If it is not malaria, it is child mortality, it is malaria, it is polio. Nigeria is only one of the very few countries in the world where, yes, there was a time we declared ourselves polio free, and then maybe 2 or 3 years later, another incidence of polio was reported somewhere. So, I mean, we need to be able to at least deal with the preventable ones at every level, the small level and the maximum level. And those are the things that we need to highlight. It's not enough. Next year, I can bet you next month, we'll come back and we'll still say a story about people dying to Lassa fever. So then you ask yourself, what are the governors of these four states doing? This is a federal agency reporting it. I'm sure in reporting it, they would have passed this message to the Ministry of Health of these four states. So what have they done? Have they mobilized in those localities where these things happened? Have they sensitized them what to do? Have they given them the right things? Have they tested other people to see if it is just limited to these people that have died? So we'll just continue highlighting these things so that our people can hear and know. We will do public service announcements as much as we are knowledgeable enough to do, and as our reach can reach people to say, take care of your environment, use mosquito nets so that you don't have malaria, don't make your houses rat proof, cook your food properly, make sure that even when you fetch water from the stream, boil it before you drink it, and so on and so forth. Because we know that if we don't do this, these are the kind of reports we'll be getting to see and be talking about every day.
Yes, and thank you for that, Lakunle. And I will hop on something you said, that sensitization is very, very key. Now, one thing I've learned from interactions with a lot of different people across different spheres of life, even those who are supposed to be well read and so on and so forth. One thing I do know, not to be disingenuous to anyone, there's a lot of ignorance out there. I mean, assuming that a lot of people know about a certain thing would be making a very huge mistake. So these are things that need to be drummed every 2 minutes into the ears of the people everywhere. Let them turn left. They see sensitization about Lassa fever. Turn right. They see, how to prevent. Over and over, it becomes second nature to them. Let's not assume that, they should know how to prevent. Let's not make these assumptions. And as you said, like only the governors of all these states, they need to do a whole lot more. Keep your messages coming in on WhatsApp on 0911-999-0981. YouTube, we're at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. All right, Devoe, I'm coming back to you with this one. Let's head into the Daily Post, where this one says, the presidency has allayed fears that Nigeria's international debts were on the rise, saying that the opposite is currently the case. The special assistant to the presidency on economy, Tope Fashola, allayed the fears on Tuesday while responding to questions in an interview on a program on Channels Television. Now, he explained that Nigeria's debts have eased by 39% since the coming on board of this current administration in 2023. Devoe, are the numbers aligning here?
Well, this is the usual position of this government. And the point is, let's put it in proper context and perspective. What Tope Fashola, the essay on economy, did say was that debt to GDP is at 39%. That's averagely 40%, okay? And if that's the case, it means people shouldn't be scared if we're borrowing, all right? And they'll always tell you, if you check America, check South Africa, check Europe, the debt to GDP is in from 100% and above. So, which is true. Now, they'll also come back and say debt to revenue, that during the Buhari administration, it was at 120%, meaning we were spending far more than we were earning, okay? Now it's down to about 68, 70%, that it has improved. But the point is, out of every 100 naira, if you use 64% to pay off debt, how much do you have left to take care of issues? Which is the reason why we still have to borrow, to still stay afloat as a government. Now, the part that they're not showing you, because these are the metrics that they use to show you that, we're doing well. The point is, they don't discuss the per capita income, which has to do if you divide our GDP by the population. And you now see how Nigerians rank very low. I think it's about just above $1,000 to $2,000, whereas most other emerging economies are at $3,000, $4,000 up, which begins to tell you that the standard of living in this country is low. That's one figure. Secondly, the issue when they say that other countries like South Africa, like America, in Europe, countries in Europe, that their debts, their debt ratios are way into 150%, etc., and co. Yes, that is true. But the difference with Nigeria, because that's the reason they give that we can still borrow. Yes. But the question about debt is, what are you borrowing for? Okay. We say this over and over because if you travel to these countries, South Africa, Europe, and America, you will see what they call social infrastructure. You'll see bridges, you'll see roads, you'll see hospitals that are there for the masses. You will see schools, okay? You will see all this infrastructure on ground that the people are benefiting from. So if the people, I remember I was in South Africa now. South Africans don't have cash. It's us Nigerians that have the cash now. So, well, but the truth is their standard of living is far higher. The government has more in place for their citizens than we who have all the cash and who are doing all the borrowing. So the question is, what has the Nigerian government successively been doing with all the money they have borrowed? And that's where you begin to see the devaluation of the naira. That's when you begin to see how, in quotes, we haven't really advanced. And this is an issue that I'll end on this point, that as a people, as we go forward into elections, okay, at the federal side, because it's not just a Tinubu federal matter, even at the state level, just even, for example, the money that was saved from subsidy, ask me, what have the governors done with it? Why are we not questioning the governors? What have you done with this money? That's why Tinubu was able to make that boast. So the point is, your governors should be able to tell you, you should be questioning them, this extra money, because remember, we were spending about 200 to 400 naira per liter of fuel. Now we pay as high as between 800 to 1,000 naira. Shouldn't that have made a difference in our lives? Now that we're spending more, should that not have brought some form of cushion, some form of benefit? If we don't see this benefit, don't come and give me data. Nigerians are now hungrier, and yet what you're feeding them is data. I'm hungry, I've not eaten today. Do you know that the GDP is still at XYZ? Is that going to fill me up? AY.
All right, Devoe, thank you for sharing those thoughts. Let me take a message or two so they don't choke me at the end. Cisco Delgado says, I was among the team that started the NIMC project in the year 2000. The idea behind the project is to embed bank account details, driver's license, electronic birth certificates, national identity, and biometric data into a single chip. This is to be enrolled into a database that can be accessed globally. Good enough that Nigeria is working on that to meet up with international standards. All right. Gilbert Musa in Festac says, on the resurgence of Lassa fever, the question is, can't Nigeria as a country develop vaccines to arrest this trend? As at 1989, Lassa fever was an insignificant infection in Nigeria. Also, in 1945, we had a vibrant and active vaccine center in Yaba, Lagos, that produced vaccines for Nigeria and West Africa. What happened to our once vibrant health sector? Well, Gilbert, I mean, if you look around, you can clearly see the answer. I know that vaccine production center in but was it Naima or something? I can't remember clearly, but I think I know where exactly it is. All right, Lakunle, I am coming back to you right now. Let's head over to Kogi State and talk about the Ajaokuta Steel Company, where Aliko Dangote, the founder and chief executive of the Dangote Group, says he believes that the Ajaokuta Steel Company will never work. Now, in a video shared on X on Tuesday, he emphasized the importance of a thriving steel industry for national development, but believes Ajaokuta's challenges make its success unlikely. And he likened the attempt to revive the steel company to comparing outdated technology with modern advancements. I mean, we've been talking about Ajaokuta long before even I came to this earth, and we're still here talking about whether or whether it's going to work. Lakunle.
So, Ajaokuta is one of the three big elephants that a former head of state, White Elephant Projects, he called them the 3 A's. There were 3 of them then: Abuja, Ajaokuta, and which one is the third one? I can't remember the third one off the top of my head in those days. So from day one, this person who made that statement himself was part of the decision to start Ajaokuta. So they themselves knew from day one that it would not work, in my estimation. Yeah. Okay. So do you believe that Ajaokuta Steel Company has not produced one bar of smelted iron ore or steel since 1979, but they are paying pensioners today? So when it is also an advertisement for why government should never be involved in business. I imagine in 1979, if government had said, look, I have iron ore deposits in my country. I want to build an iron ore smelting, mining, production firm around it. Anybody in the world who can do it, come and do it. I'll give you X, Y, Z, blah, 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 blah. You must employ this, the Nigerian must be managing director, give all the conditionalities, whatever it is you want to give. And then people from anywhere in the world had come to bid and had built that facility, right? As technology changes, or as technology has changed over time, so also that organization would have updated itself. But guess what? We're still talking about Ajaokuta in the context of the technology of the 1960s that was used to build it. The parts, the equipment that were on ground in Ajaokuta today, I am so certain, are no longer serviceable. So, Alhaji Dangote is 100% correct. I agree with him that that it would never work. Perhaps because it was designed never to work from beginning, from day one, right? But even at that, there was nothing that said that we could not have completed the design and construction and finally to production between 1979 and 1980. It also brings us back to the idea of governance. Governance is being a continuum. So a government started it. Another government came and said, I have other priorities, I'm not doing this anymore, and I abandoned it. So that's another thing that as Nigerians, we need to agree with ourselves. And that's what brings up this idea. You see, particularly on social media, people start saying, this administration built this. No, it was one that built it. He started it. He completed it. That's the debate we now have about prayer. And that also gives fuel to why new people come. They want to abandon the one that they met so that they will not say they were not the ones that did it. They will start their own afresh. And this is one of the casualties of that kind of thinking. And would anybody buy Ajaokuta as it is today? I don't think so.
I mean, since 1979,
nobody will put money to buy it as it is, because the cost of first evacuating what is there to replace alone will probably kill the person, right?
We'll keep pumping money into it.
Exactly. That's why we need to just close our eyes and say, we're not doing again. We have failed at this. They say this thing they say about when you are in a hole, the first thing to do if you want to get out is to stop digging. But we just keep digging, and we're getting deeper in the hole that we are with this thing. It's unfortunate that we're not able to do this. Maybe we'll just be mining the iron ore and be selling it raw to another country that has, so that it's not just that we're not even making any money at all. I mean, we can also say the same thing for the one that's in there's one in Alaja, there's the Oshogo Steel Rolling Mill. All of these things were designed to take stuff from Ajaokuta and turn it to machines, to motor parts, and so on and so forth, for us to be able to use locally. It was around also the time when we had Steya in Bauchi, we had Pan in Kaduna, we had Peugeot in Lagos, we have Volkswagen in Lagos. That the end point of that, starting that, it was that they would provide steel plates for these motor companies and agricultural equipment company to make parts of the cars they were assembling in Nigeria. But here we are, even all of those ones too are dead. So we need to have an idea of what we want to do with this thing now. One of the first place to start is to say, look, we're not sinking money into this thing anymore.
I heard a saying yesterday, loosely, I can't remember word for word, but something along the lines of, the longer you stay on a train you're not supposed to be on, the more expensive it becomes for you to get back to where you're actually supposed to be. So that is
say that if you sit too long in the toilet, the rubbish flies will meet you and be your company there. That's what.
Mm, mm. OG before IG. Thank you for that one. All right, let me take your messages this morning. Sunday in Surulere sending a message. He says, on the issue of NIMC allegedly linking to other partner agencies, I think it's a good idea, but I do not believe that there is any actual linkage, but rather discussions and meetings with many subcommittees established to get sitting allowances for as long as the conversation goes on. Some principalities will fight against this initiative in the respective agencies because they want to eat. I will channel my inner Devoe and say a cool NIMC linkage. All right. Thank you for your message there, Sunday. Or who else is talking to us? This one is from Lekon in Lagos. He says, in the absence of the rule of law, impunity will be the order of the day. Ayokunmi, David Udeyi, and many brilliant minds like myself foresee that it will be a nightmare if this let me just say no. I do not want to go on with that part of the message. I've said that I will not. Anyways, he said that this government has turned this country into a gangster paradise. Look at the insecurity in the land. Imagine the killings in the country. If people were protesting, the government will send the police to arrest and throw tear gas on harmless protesters and all that. The economy, education, health, and all sectors are in a dead state. All they do is to tax and loot. That is why we're in this nightmare. It's a shame that the worst of us are ruling the best of us. Truly, there was a country. All right, thank you, Lekon. This is Stan. Stan says, this one Dangote is talking about Ajaokuta, even though we know it's dead. Why am I perceiving Dangote's interest from afar? Remember, steel and cement are like A and B. My opinion, though, of course, it's your opinion. At the end of the day, Stan. Lakunle, Cisco Logado says, Lakunle, don't forget that Ajaokuta steel mill is not a Nigerian issue alone. Western world will never allow it to work. Let's fight our battles from inside.
Leave that bit of whatever. I do not have an inkling of belief in that statement.
Joseph Menye in Silver State, Ejibo says, good morning, freshly pressed, my ever vibrant presenter, Ayo, and analyst Devoe and Lakunle. Shout out to all the daily analysts who spend time to break down the financial propaganda of this administration, uploading themselves economic catastrophe on the economic catastrophe that they've caused, I guess what you mean, plunge the nation into school, no be scam, because some people will run with erroneous statistics that the government is doing well, whereas opposite is the true state. May God help Nigeria. And this is from Ajayi Odolindua in Magudu Jerry Sherry. He says, now that over 120 million Nigerians have been registered under the National Identity Program, government should centralize our database for citizens to be able to get services from all government agencies like international passports, driver's license, voter registration, and even banking transactions. Nigerians should be spared the agony of unnecessary paperwork at every turn. That's the end game of all the linkage. That's what we hope is going to happen, but that's the end game, really. And we hope it happens sooner rather than later, Ajayi. Thank you for your message. All right, we need to wrap it all up this morning. Thank you all for the messages. Lakunle, any last words you'd like to share with us? Words of wisdom before we go.
I am an incurable believer in the Nigerian project. And sometimes one gets angry with the way things are because from my little corner, I see that Nigeria could get better at the things we do. And I'd like to us to know that we should criticize Nigeria so that it can get better, not criticize it because we hate it. Nigeria is all that all of us have. Our criticism should be for the better of Nigeria, not because we hate Nigeria. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Lakunle. Devoe, take us home.
All right. All aboard. Hold your governors accountable.
Thank you.
Short and sharp. Hold your governors accountable. And let us all go out there and be the best versions of ourselves. Let's endeavor to be better today than we were yesterday. Thank you all so much once again for being a part of the show, Freshly Pressed. The Smooth Breakfast here on Smooth 98.1. It will continue. 8:15, we'll get into the world of sports. The locker room will be up.
Yep.